Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi, my name is Bella Twine, and I'm going to be moderating the session. So, basically, about me, I am a fellow from the class of 2020, and I work with the D Bank. Many of you, if you've been to the Media Challenge Initiative Hub, probably you've seen a desk there that has the D Bank. We are fact checkers, and besides that, I also do voicing. I voice over adverts, and I also shoot adverts with a company called Tully Concepts. Yes, I'll let others also introduce themselves, starting from Olivia.
Hi. Okay. My name is Olivia Kongisha. I am a fellow, the pioneer class of 2018. I am a journalist with NTV Uganda. I am a social media influencer, marketeer, strategist. I also do communications. But for the purposes of being here, I'm also the president of the alumni community and welcome you all to the community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Umar Senyonjo. Ndi musomi w'amawulire ag'olulimi Oluganda ku Ssanyu FM. I am also a fellow from the pioneer class of 2018. I am a reporter also at Ssanyu FM. I also work with an organization called Educate an Orphan as the human resource manager. I also do so much of social media management. But most importantly, I am a father and a husband.
Hi everyone, Henry Mugenyi is my name. I'm a health journalist with NBS Television under Next Media Services. Thank you. Class of 2018, but not the one that started. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Are we allowed to tell them the Kuyiriba part? Okay, because in Kampala you need a lot of jobs to survive. Let me just put it out there. Anyways, my name is Faiza Salima, aka Faiza Caps. I was also a fellow in Bella's class. So imagine the honor being moderated by her. Yeah, I'm a radio presenter with XFM. I'm a baker. I am a voiceover artist. I am a writer. There's a Kuyiba part as well. I'm a digital influencer. I do quite a lot of things, but those are the things I like to tie on when I'm presenting my CV to people.
Okay, so there's a lot of creative, as you have seen. We all have 120 jobs. But aside from that, and all can't shoot your shots to Umar, really. Maybe Henry. Yeah, so aside from that, we're going to be talking about how you found the fellowship program, what interested you, what highs and lows, the likes, yeah? So starting with you, Faiza, how did you get to know about the fellowship? And when you came into the fellowship program, how did you find that vis-a-vis what you expected before?
Okay, so first of all, I'd known Abbas for some time. By the time I met Abbas, I was already working on TV. And I'd met him, and I didn't even know at the time that he was the CEO, by the way. I didn't even know I was talking to a big man. But luckily enough, when I got into university, in the very first year, the Media Challenge team came to our university to talk to students and try to interest them for the fellowship and, of course, for the Media Challenge itself. So the first year, I don't think I was serious the first year because I was also just getting used to university. But then the second year, I said, you know what? Let me now try this thing. So that's how I actually got into Media Challenge and got to know the entire team, thank God. And I have to say, it's been quite an experience ever since then. Most definitely not anything I expected, okay? Because already university, by the way, was a disappointment. University was a disappointment. So I already had low expectations when I went there. But imagine to actually meet such an amazing team, so many experienced people, to actually talk about journalism today and not talk about journalism from 1980 or something, that side. So it was an enriching experience.
So for Henry, I think the question will be, with the academy, how did you get to know about that opportunity, and then were your expectations met?
Personally, it was a referral. By then, I was working with an organization called Reach a Hand Uganda. It referred me to the Media Challenge Academy. That is when the chief of staff decided, you know what, Henry, because I didn't have that background of journalism really, I had done something else that is in public health. He referred me to the Media Challenge Academy because I needed a skill to communicate more. And what I can say is the expectations were met. I got to understand what the word looks like. I thank Antonio. Antonio really believed in me. He was like, you have to be on the screen. Each and every time I could get into the training sessions, we would go into dry runs. Still, I used to work with NBS back then as a youth presenter, that is on NBS Mix-Up Show, and then NBS Youth Voice. But Antonio kept on saying, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be up there in the newsroom. I listened, I took on, I came to the classes, I attended. Yeah, at the end of it all, awards are coming in.
Same question for you, Omar.
Do I still remember the question? But anyway, may you?
So, how did you get to know about the fellowship opportunity, and were your expectations met when you joined the fellowship program?
Okay, first of all, in 2016, I was a second-year student of journalism at Makerere University, and I got the Media Challenge team came to the university, and somehow they were interesting us into taking part in the inter-university competitions. So since then, of course, I participated in 2016, 2017. I was the best business reporter at Ugandan News. I still have the award. And then in from that year, that very year, 2017, is when we were selected to be part of the fellowship, because it was the first time the fellowship was being organized. And that's how I ended up being part of the fellowship. There was really no applications then. It was through that criteria that we were selected. Some of us were selected. Of course, quite a number of us had won awards, but not all of us went through to the fellowship. So that's how I ended up being a fellow. And indeed, it was an experience that I should say contributed greatly to my career today. Yes.
Same question? Yeah. Okay. Not to differ so much from Omar, in 2017, I think I was in second year, first semester. So as usual, MCI would come, put up adverts, journalism students to take part in these competitions. So I remember I went through my class, asked, my fellow students if they would take it up, and most of them refused. So most of the students who had participated were third years, his class. So I remember as the only one from second year who participated. So, you literally haven't delved into the real journalism in second year. But here I am tying around people, wanting to learn a few things here and there. So yeah, I participated. We had small competitions within the university before then you're selected to represent the university at the competitions. Yeah, so I was selected. Luckily, I went for the competitions. I won the best technology reporter English, and then, like Umar said, the people who ended up in the fellowship, the pioneer class, were basically those who won awards. Even Mugaga was in our class. So yeah, our class it was a success. I think I always brag around that it's our class that set the pace for this, because we exceeded the MCI's expectations. Yeah. So when I joined the fellowship, yeah, and I must say, I always say that it's what kickstarted my journalism career. I got my job through MCI. I still get, plugging and a few referrals from MCI. Everything really has, and like Abbas always says, stay near the fire, stay close to the fire, because the opportunities come through MCI, and eventually, we get the opportunities. So I will always say that MCI is the best thing that happened to me. I got my job when I was in second year. I worked throughout my time at campus. I was working at 10 TV. I mean, the best media house in Uganda. Henry, deal with it. So so it was the best thing. I mean, I have no regrets, and I always encourage people to join the media challenge. Bella knows I was on her case to join media challenge. Precious there, I've been on her case to join media challenge. So even him, most of the Makere students will tell you, I've always told them to join. So don't take this lightly. It's everything, and many people would love to be here. Yeah. So I'm glad to be back home. Thank you.
Yay. Oh, so to me now, the question. So I was working at Power FM at the time, and yeah, Olivia would always tell me, Bella, there's this opportunity, there's media challenge. Then there's also Lona. Lona was in fourth year at the time and should also talk about the media challenge. So I said, okay, I'll pop by. So one day they are conducting a training, the 3-day training before you do the auditions. So I got there for a story for Power FM, of course. So I got there and I'm like, oh, this could be an interesting story. So I get in and then I don't leave. I stay there for like more 3 hours. I come back the next day. I do the assignments. I come back again. I do the auditions. And then I was like the best anchor at school. Then we go to the expo, and then as the best English anchor, Makere. And then, yeah, the fellowship happened, and the 26 of us were sitting in a room like this. It was a very amazing experience because, one, you get to take a lot from the fellowship, more than you give. At the end of the day, let your testimony not be, we got free beds, we got free trips, we slept in fancy hotels, we ate breakfast twice and lunch, and yeah, at the end of the day, let your testimony be, I learned data journalism and I can be able to extract data from this and make it a pie chart or whatever. And that was really amazing for me. Yeah. So the next question I think would be, was there a time during the fellowship program that you wanted to leave? You felt everything was so overwhelming. You're working at XFM, you're doing this and that, right? You're influencing. Olivia, you're working. Henry, you're at Reach a Hand. You're doing this, these shows on NBS, and then you want to leave the academy. You're like, koye. Yeah.
I think for me, the time I joined, I didn't have a lot on my plate. I just had school, and besides, I was really, really excited. I mean, you don't know what it means. You're at campus, second year, and you're interacting with these people who literally you look up to. So for me, it was a lot of excitement. But I think the third week, I was receiving more from the fellowship than I was receiving from school. So it was overwhelming because most of these would come in the middle of, the semester. So they're calling you at school, you have an assignment, at least now Media Challenge has a partnership with Makerere University, and they know the importance of MCI. The first fellowship, they took it for granted a bit. So I remember I missed a test at some point, and they didn't, kind of allow me to do something to compensate for it. So it was overwhelming, and I didn't think of leaving because I was always excited to come here. I mean, I was always excited. I would go back to class and teach these students some of the things I was learning here. I remember Omar, one of the things he taught us, and Antonio was kind master. So they give us an assignment in class, and people are fidgeting, going to the lab to do the story, and me, I was just doing it on my phone. And you don't know how it feels when everyone is surrounding you trying to learn just this one skill. So then I started appreciating what I was getting here. And, every time you do these assignments, you present them in such settings, and you get feedback from your fellows. They're telling you your strength, what you can improve. So you're like, oh, actually, I think I have a purpose. So that's when I discovered myself and what I can do, the confidence levels and everything, really. Writing, you have all these people talking to you about literally everything. Things that, I didn't get them at campus. I can't tell you that everything I practiced here. And for anything, by the time I got the job, I had all the skills I needed, but not from the university, from Media Challenge. So there's no point when I felt like I wanted to leave, but of course it's normal for any human being to get tired and feel overwhelmed. Those instances were there, but it was always exciting to come back here, especially with the people, the fellows. It was always exciting. Yeah.
Okay, now I think my experience is not any different from hers. We were in the same class. Probably the only difference is that I was a final year student. I was in my 4th year last semester by the time we had the fellowship. Indeed, it was not easy. Like she said, at that time, Makerere University had not appreciated the importance of the fellowship. So the only advantage I had in my class was that my class coordinator was also a fellow. So he was responsible for collecting courseworks, but he always ensured that whenever there was an assignment given, he would not collect courseworks until fellows that are in the 4th year class have submitted their courseworks. But like she said, it's true that at some point we felt, especially the 4th years, we felt it was overwhelming because we kept on giving explanations for why we're missing classes, for why we're missing courseworks, for why we are submitting courseworks late. And at that time, like I said at the start, I am a human resource manager of an organization called Educate an Orphan. But maybe a brief one about that organization. We started it when we were still students in Makerere University in 2017. So 2018 was the 2nd year that organization was existing. And I was holding that responsibility then while I was still a student. Probably by then, it was not yet called an organization, but it was an organization in making. We were required to have so much paperwork for it because we were chasing for its registration. And indeed, that was part of the load I had while I was attending the fellowship. But indeed, the fellowship was an exciting experience. And whenever we go to these rooms and our fancy rooms outside this room, at some point we could forget all those pressures and just relax. Yes, but it's true. The pressures were there, and the pressures can always be there. The way our institutions value these arrangements differ. Your colleagues may be comfortable with whatever they are doing in the fellowship. You could not be comfortable because of what is happening at your institution, because of probably the family issues you have, or even the personal issues you have. So, so many dynamics can always happen. But I think what should make you stand out is knowing why you're sleeping in Jeffrey Hotel for 5 days or 6 days. that should always drive your participation in all programs at the fellowship.
Now, my story seems to be different from what Olivia and Dim have shared. Antonio, is my class or my Kahoot, is it the only one that didn't go to these fancy hotels? Eh? Just asking. Anyway, I don't know whether we were unlucky, but my class did not get a chance to attend sessions in such places. Where you are, thank God, and use the opportunity. Personally, I started in 2018, I finished in 2019. I wasn't a repeater, don't say so. But I dropped off at some point. Then I did come back because things were overwhelming, really. I had a lot on my plate to consume. But the fact that I was sent to the academy by people that have already been there, people that have seen how the world operates, and the skills that I really wanted to be where I am or where I'm heading, they persisted with me. They were like, you have to go back to the academy. Even if I dropped off, later on I came back. I know so many of you are going to drop off, but when you go there, rethink yourself, rethink your families, your relatives, and then friends. You will come back to the academy. You take on the classes. There will be an opportunity for you. I was given an opportunity to reduce the class. Yes. That's it for me.
Now, personally for me, let me not lie to you guys. there, there wasn't really any point where I got and I said I was really tired and I wanted to leave because I always look forward to the hotel, to the food. That's not life. Food is a serious thing. Eh? I look forward, by the way, to all these things. But there was a time where I frustrated Abbas. I frustrated Antonio, Mogaga, and I think the entire team. They could have chased me out, by the way, but they were so nice, thank God. But I frustrated them, really, really did, okay? Because unlike you guys who are so attentive right now, me, when I get tired, I'm tired. I zone out, okay? I really, really zone out, and I'm not ready to listen anymore. And luckily enough, by the time I joined, yes, I was working, but I had a support system that allowed me to kind of organize myself. When I wasn't here, I'd already pre-recorded for whatever I was going to be on air. So I would be here, knowing that things are running. But of course, that means that a lot of the work is being done on the phone, okay? That meant I was spending quite a lot of time on my phone. So Mogaga and Abbas, I think they were almost killing me every time I was on my phone in sessions and what. They were frustrated. And I think they almost got to a point where they wanted to kick me out. And because I'm also rebellious, you could see they were frustrated. They were trying to pull me back. Then I'm also jamming. We're pulling ropes at that point. Eh? But there really wasn't any point where I can say that I was just tired and overwhelmed. I managed to kind of, organize my things. I knew how to make sure things are running at work. I knew how to make sure things are running on the phone and I'm working. Attending class, I had guys I was studying with, my close friends who were making sure that I'm catching up with school at the same time. So I really, really did look forward to everything, the classes, the people I was with, the food, the hotel, yes, the tea breaks, So I really, really, there wasn't any point where I got tired.
Two breakfasts, yeah?
Man.
For those who think that expulsion isn't an option here, it is at some point. So, speaking of staying close to the fire, there's people who have moved away from the fire, probably because they don't feel as big as NTV, as big as NBS, as XFM, SANU, and they feel like, okay, I came to the fellowship knowing I am going to get a job at NTV, I'm going to get a job in BBC or those big organizations, really. There's a point where you're going to get a mentor, and you will think that because your mentor is from a certain organization, you're going to get into that organization. So for you guys, while you had that expectation, because I know for most of us we did have that expectation, maybe Henry didn't because he was already working at those big brands, but at the end of the day, when you left the fellowship, when you went out there to Kuiba, what was your lesson in regards to the brand and where I'm working, how they see it, and what my friend is doing is not what I'm doing, but I want to do that, something like that. How did you manage with that?
I don't know if I've understood that question. But when it comes to expectations, definitely. I mean, I really, really did. And I think, by the way, my expectations started going up when I was in here. Because I noticed from the people who are actually talking to us, these are people who are very well placed in big organizations and they were talking to us. There are people who had even worked with BBC. So I said, man, anytime I'm heading there as well, right? But then I understand one thing that I picked when you talk about a lesson, one thing that I realized at the end of the day is that MCI can also only go so far. They are opening the door. You must now, like make your way in and ensure that you stay there and grow in there. Okay, because whereas MCI was connecting us to so many people, it was upon us to actually now take it a step further, do a lot of networking, but along the way, put in some more effort, some skills, and secure some jobs along the way. Okay, so to be honest with you, I had those expectations, but I knew how to manage them. I knew that, honestly speaking, someone can only do so much. Okay, they're getting you, they're giving you the visibility, they're getting you to all these places, they're making you meet all these people. It's now upon you to ensure that you make it happen for also yourself.
The MCI has really contributed a lot to the kind of journalism we are doing currently and to the generation that is in currently. Because when you walk into Next Media Services, at least 20% or even 40% of the young talent in there has passed through this academy. The big brands you're seeing there are those of Kayonga, Po, Buchana, and so many others. Shamim Nabakoza, Mordecai on Travel Now, and so many others. Namakumbi even, yeah. This is the place where they started from. So the MCI contributed a lot. Of how they view the academy at my workstation, yes, it is a very good initiative. That is why you're seeing Ijo, Shiba, those were colleagues from that side, and I think they're going back. Personally, I had expectations. Just like I shared at the beginning, I was on Youth Voice and then Mix Up. In that kind of setting, the entertainment world. But whenever I came to the academy, Antonio kept on saying, and then the team, that you don't have to be there, you have to be somewhere else. So my expectations rose from being a youth presenter to someone who discusses matters of national importance. So my expectations from the academy were really met. I had them, I pursued them, just like the opportunity. When the opportunity presents itself, take up on it. Because it is not common for someone really to cross from one sphere, one circle, and then go into the other serious world. Things aren't easy, but I know we all have the capacity to do it.
Now, I never thought at any one point during the fellowship that I would ever end up on radio. Antonio can tell you, and like Olivia said, I was nicknamed the Kind Master. Kind Master is an app. I believe we probably by now have it. Now, during the fellowship, I was nicknamed the Kind Master. That was because I mastered the Kind Master app. I had an Android, like he said, that could accommodate it. And I mastered it really well. Now, after the fellowship, I went on to ensure that I still present myself to the market, to the available market. I used my phone even after the fellowship. And that was 2018 was the fellowship. 2019, then 2020 is when I moved into radio. Now, I continuously went for these stories without anyone asking me to go for them. I voluntarily went for a story. I got tips, went, used my phone, got the videos, edited using KineMaster, then pushed quite a number of them. And I can tell you, I don't know how many of you have contributed stories to the NBS Your Story segment right now. I don't know. Has anyone done so? Okay, great. Now, I was among the people that contributed stories to the NBS Your Story segment during the fellowship and after the fellowship. But what was I chasing for? It was the expectation. It was the hope that one day I would enter NBS. But I had several engagements. There is a tweet, I don't know whether Antonio and Abbas can remember them, can remember that tweet. I did a piece to camera, and Keen, I'm sorry, his Keen. I thought I'd somehow, his Keen. Okay, Keen directed or instructed Paul Luanga to look for me. And indeed he did. And at that point I thought I was already in NBS. But there is a saying that there is always politics in everything. Eh? I don't know how things overturned. I don't know. I can't, until today, I can't tell. Paul Luanga contacted me. We talked. And I was really proud. I remember sharing with Abbas. I said, Abbas, Paul has gone. Because Abbas, I remember it was all over. And I somehow was very excited. I thought, yes, this is exactly why I was doing all these stories. Unfortunately, I can't tell what happened. Because after him contacting me, he didn't contact me. Again. So I kept pushing. And at some point, I even tried inboxing a screenshot of Kalisa's instruction to Kalisa, reminding him that I have not yet been brought in. Trying to report, maybe, I don't know. But that was because I had lots of expectations. Then later, I got to realize that the world was not all about radio. TV. And indeed, I didn't ever think I would ever be on radio. I'm being honest. So now, I talked to Abbas and told him, you know what, Abbas? I'm a fresh graduate. I need to have a life. I've had an opportunity that has presented itself to me, and that was a communications job. So my very first job, I got it in 20. We graduated in January. Before January 2019, and in March, I had a communications job. So I was at that job until Ismail Sembatia. I believe we all know him. He is a news anchor at NBS. So Ismail Sembatia was then working with Sanyo FM. So I and Ismail had linked up sometime before I moved into the communications job, at the time when I was trying to promote myself. So Ismail gave me a call just out of the blue. I was already settled where I was, and I received a call from him. Umar, oliwa, kwanza emirimu gitambula gyendi. Angamba, okay. So now, before that, I think you can pick a lesson from what I'm going to say here. Before I moved into the communications job, as soon as we graduated, Sanyo FM was looking for a sit-in Luganda news anchor for Ismail Sembatia. Ismail Sembatia didn't have a sit-in, so they were looking for a sit-in Luganda news anchor. Simon Kakoza, our Simon, he called me, Nangamba, Umar, I know Sanyo FM, I know Sembatia. Talk to Sembatia. So Sembatia calls me in 2019, he tells me, Umar, come. So I went to Sanyo FM. I hope you don't get a negative lesson from this. I went to Sanyo FM. I did the test, just one test. They right away told me, come back tomorrow, get a contract. And indeed, I got the contract. The following day, now, this is what happened. No sooner had I signed and received the contract, I was supposed to start on 1st March at Sanyo FM. 1st March 2019, before COVID. Then the communications job presented itself, but with a higher pay. Now, there was a situation. There is a career. I've always wanted to be in journalism, but now there is money. I took a decision not to go for Sanyo FM. I acted professional, and I hope you can always do this. I wrote a resignation letter because I already had a contract. Before I even started working, I was supposed to start on 1st March. Then on 29th March, I moved into Sanyo FM with a resignation letter myself and submitted it in. And I said, I'm sorry. I gave all the reasons for why I'm turning down the offer. And that is how I was able to even be called back to Sanyo FM for a second chance. Because I didn't misbehave at the time when they needed me. Because I had, in one way you could look at it as someone letting you down. You see, you thought you had gotten a sit-in and now you're comfortable. There's a whole process of drafting your contract. But in just no minute, you tarnish everything. So I moved into the communication job to be precise. Ismail Sembatia calls me for an opportunity at Sanyo. I find the same editor to whom I submitted the resignation. The same editor. She was called Diana Kobugabe. She now left Sanyo. Diana welcomed me again because we had met before. I did the interview with her. She gave me the first interview. Then she also gave me the second interview. I was able to, I also did just one. And finally ended up at Sanyo FM. So expectations, it's okay for you to have expectations, but always think about your expectations. And at a time when, like she said, we're going to have mentors. My mentor was this NTV journalist, you know. No. The one who usually goes to Sudan. Who covers the wars? No, the other. No, just one more. Just mention one name. Biaruhanga. Thank you so much. Sudhir Biaruhanga. He was my mentor. And somehow, at that point I also thought, wabangenda kuingira ko NBS, NTV. Nengo bongo bange bwali nnyo muki. So it's okay for you to always have expectations. But like she said, MCI will always open the door for you. But the spaces that are in media houses cannot accommodate all of us. But always don't go far away from the fire. Thank you.
Do I really have anything more to say? Because this guy, his story, is it needs its own zungululu. Anyway, expectations. The time I joined MCI, I don't think I had expectations of like a job or what, but my expectations were like, getting skills and learning basic journalism. So for anything, my expectations were low. And when I got here, the bar was so high for me. I remember, and as Umar just said, stay closer to the fire. We were all here, and we had very, very talented people. Our class was really talented. I'm not saying you're not talented. I was able to study with these guys, so I know them. I can speak from a point of knowledge. The Mugagas, Tracy Kababito, Sandra Tuinobrio, the Buchanas. So this one morning, Abbas calls me. He's like, NTV is looking for a trainer. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even understand what a trainer is, to be honest. So I'm like, what does that mean? So it's like, they're looking for like an intern to train. And, you see how things go, yeah? So I didn't expect to get a job from MCI, to be honest. So here I was. Abbas sets up an interview, with a meeting, really, not an interview, with Josephine Karunji, the then news manager. And she's like, I already like you. Come. Because, she had previewed my story from the one that won me an award. So she was like, you can come in. So I met her on a Friday, then Monday I started. And what I want you guys to get out of this whole thing is just having your skill. As long as you have your skill, people will always look for you. Not that they looked for me, but they found me ready. I joined NTV. Here we were being trained with Premiere Pro, but the other side we use Final Cut. So that was the only glitch, the only thing that I didn't understand. We had gone through voicing sessions, we had gone through writing sessions, we had gone through story pitching, everything. We had gone through everything. And, to my advantage, my mentor was a very experienced storyteller, Patience Atwere. She works with the BBC. She's the BBC correspondent in Uganda. And let me tell you, I always tied on Patience. I went with Patience everywhere. I always went with her to the field. She would call me, Oli, I'm going to work on this. Are you available? I'm like, even when I don't have time, I'll create time and just go. So I had learned most of the things from the fellowship, from my mentor. So by the time I got into NTV, I had the basic skills. They were not starting from scratch. And for anything, NTV never allowed any reporter to, like, if you're a new reporter, you have to wait until at least 2 months before your story airs, before your voice or even your face appears on TV. But I joined on a Monday, and on a Friday, my story was on air. Because I had learned how to, there's nothing much they were going to do. And at the time I entered, there was a crisis. There were a few reporters. So they needed me. I entered as a trainee, but here I ended up, being needed. So for me, I didn't have expectations. But as I got into these spaces, you start valuing yourself. You start setting the expectations. They start getting higher. But like Pfizer said, you need to learn how to manage your expectations. All you have to do is have your skill. Discover yourself. No, not all of us can be good on TV. Not all of us are good on radio. Not all of us can do communications. Where is your strength? Are you a better? I've seen, is this Tracy? I've seen Tracy emceeing. If she knows that's where her strength is, how can you find opportunities in emceeing? How can you find opportunities in moderating? You all cannot be on TV. And journalism is no longer about TV. It's no longer about TV. It's no longer about radio. You have your phone. You can kind master and share your stories. You can do your content. So you can have all these expectations. It's okay to have expectations because, they help you set your goals and eventually, tend to rate yourself. But how do you manage your expectations? So for me, the whole point of it is have your skills ready, learn as much as you can, network. I think for me, the most important thing is networking because all these opportunities I get is every time a facilitator came here, if I knew they were talking about storytelling and that's where my strength is, I will try to create, a contact with that person. But how do you even, talk to these people? When do you talk to these people? How do you talk to them? Because these are busy people. You also need to understand how to talk to these busy people. But on top of networking, manage your expectations, but have the skills. Your skills will sell you more than anything. More than anything. I mean, I've seen Tracy MC. If I had an event, I wouldn't think otherwise to, go through the hassle of looking for an MC. It's because I've seen her doing that, and that's where her strength is. That's her skill. So for you, what's your skill? If you know your skill, sell your skill. Don't sell your expectation. Your expectations will find you along the way. So as you talk to these people, as these facilitators come in, you will have your expectations go high, yeah? And it's okay because those are goals. But check them. When you go back to your room, listen to yourself, your inner self. Are those expectations achievable? And in how long can you achieve those expectations? If you do that check within yourself, you will understand what kind of expectations to set. Because once you're disappointed, if you do not meet your expectations, you might, I know our class had people who had expectations, and when things didn't work out, they ran away. Not like running away really, but you can't locate them. You get, and you don't want that to happen to you. So set goals that are achievable, and as you go higher, you can always elevate your goals. And yeah, I think that's it from me.
Thank you so much, guys. So, yes, again. So as we ask one round of more questions, I would ask you to jot down your questions. And when we're done, you can ask, yeah? So the same question. So my expectations were in form of the goal setting that you guys went through, I think, this week, yeah? So when you're writing down your goals, you're dreaming, oh, I want to do this by end of month. I want to go to this number of radio stations and pitch myself. I want to go to NBS, NTV, then BBC, then, yeah. So when I came in, I just resigned from Power FM. And like Olivia said, my expectations were low because I had already made my plan with Power FM of Nancy Kachungira came from here, Brian Malondo came from here. So they give you the impression of if you are here, then the next thing is NTV, the next thing is BBC. So me, that was my, the final thing of if I'm not there, I'm nowhere. So when I left my job painfully and joined so that's a sacrifice, one of the sacrifices you have to make, because doing school, doing a 12 p.m., 1 p.m. bulletin, as well as 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and then 7, I couldn't do that with a fellowship and then school. So I had to sacrifice. And then as days went on, months, my expectations rose of, okay, this place is big, this place is huge. How can I make the most of it? And I think most of us, if we come with the mindset of, I'm working in this area, I've been to this place, I know these people, you might find yourself not learning so much because you have this thing of ndimunene. Yet literally, abanene baliwano, and you've even actually seen them, yeah. So that I think was one big lesson for me. And even when I'm not with a big brand, by the time I started Tuli Concepts, we were finishing our class, our fellowship class, and we were having COVID. The pandemic had started, and we were home. We're doing only Zoom, and man, you don't have anything to do really. And you have to look for Kamani because you're not going to ask for your father. Oh, daddy, my hair. It's a pandemic. Who is going to give you money for your hair? Yeah, so people would reach out and say, Bella, you wrote for someone a script for voicing. Write for me a script. Give me like a 50K. Bella, voice this. Give me like a 20. And that's how it started. I'm like, I could make a huge deal out of this. So yeah, and then I started Tuli. And then after that, we did the auditions for Debunk. And then we stayed with Debunk until now. And you might not get jobs in the big areas, but you can create your own opportunities. Nalo, I mean, you guys are doing amazing work. Yeah, so just with those things that you have as a skill, like Olivia said, you can make something huge out of them. Faiza is doing influencing. She's doing a big and amazing job out of that. Making money with MTN, those guys. Henry is getting awards, guys. Like, that's a huge deal. So for all of us, let's just make sure that as we set expectations, where are they taking you? If you don't see yourself on NBS, where else do you see yourself? If you don't see yourself in those places, then you don't deserve to be on NBS, because NBS is not going to stay here forever. I mean, some other brand will come up, and another. Sorry, Henry. Okay, so one last question. Okay, two more questions. One is, mention one thing you should have paid attention to when you were in the fellowship, like a topic or a week. That fellowship week that you have to pay attention to, but you didn't. Or that academy week that you had to pay attention to, either reporting, whether they're talking about data or economic reporting, and then for you, you're saying,
And Anika is here. It was her session. Data journalism. Guys, data journalism. This pandemic, most of us in TV, we realized we needed a lot of data and we needed to extract a lot of data, but we didn't know how to do it. We didn't because, Ministry of Health would issue a report. The World Health Organization will issue a report. NDC would issue. And you look at these reports and you're like, okay, really? Where do I start from? I remember even after the fellowship, these guys know where the virgin areas are. They know where they are, and that's where they tend to, get most facilitators to come. After the fellowship, we had a training. There's a training, and one whole day was dedicated to data journalism. Still then, you guys, I hate numbers. I hate math. I hate anything that, has to do with. And when I joined journalism, I knew I was done with math. And one of the things I didn't want to do was like business reporting, which I thought was actually about numbers, which isn't even about numbers. So I wish I had paid attention to data journalism. Let me tell you, there are many organizations that need data, that need their things simplified, but there are no people to do this. There are really no people to do it. You guys, if there is anything, now this is a tip. If you want to make money, concentrate in the data journalism session. Really concentrate, because that's where there's an organization that approached me at some time, and they were paying a lot of money. But they wanted me to extract some data, and I looked at the money. I remembered when I was at the fellowship, I was like, and I had to refer someone who had paid attention during our class. Do you know how painful that is? When you had the resources before you, it still hurts me. But unfortunately, I am still lazy to take on the data journalism. So now that I can't, I know where I can do other things. I know where I can make money elsewhere, or where I can have an impact. So now that there is that gap, what are you going to do? That's up to you. Me, I didn't pay attention, and it hurts. There are these opportunities, I can't take them on. Really sad. And I know Umar also didn't pay attention, because I know.
Well, I think personally, I think it was the radio week. That is the reason as to why I said at the start that I didn't expect to be on radio. They can tell you, we have the videos, The console was there. I never even moved I never touched the console. It was for all of us. We could use it. But I used to see people use it and said, me, I'm not a radio person. I'm not doing those things. But I ended up on radio, and I was supposed to learn how to use a console. You see? Yet I had an opportunity at the fellowship, but I didn't use it. So now what lesson do we pick from that? We probably do not know where our opportunity is going to come from what we are getting from the fellowship. We are getting a full package. What we are getting from here is a full package, but we do not know where our biggest opportunity is going to come from. So I implore you to pay attention to every detail of what you get from here, because probably from what you may want to dodge is probably where your biggest opportunity may come from.
I believe Umar has summarized it all. Abbas will tell you, Antonio will tell you, there's a guy called Pius. Pius will also tell you. Personally, even if you look at the PTCs that we used to record, we used to move on the different streets with that team. But compiling stories was one of my hardest things. And today, it is where I'm earning from. I did not want to do those features. They will tell you, go to this location, go and do this, come back, file your report, go do this photography. I did not pay attention. But when I got there, it hit me, I came back.
That's very interesting stuff. Okay, for me, Bella, it wasn't really a week or a session, but it is definitely a part of the MCI fellowship that I have to say I should have paid either more attention or I should have tied on this person until they got tired of me. But luckily enough, good things happen. Anyways, the part that I really, really should have paid more attention, and I urge all of you guys to pay the most attention, is mentorship. Okay, when MCI links you up with your mentors, by the way, insist on it. Okay, now let me explain something. So I went to Martha and I told her, Martha, I'm a huge fan of Flavia Tumusime and I need you to pair me with her. Martha, I don't know what connection she pulled in the industry, but you know her. She managed to work it out. Flavia is a very, very, very busy woman. Very busy. And because I've been in an environment and I've seen how she works, she's a very busy person. But you see, she accepted. Okay? And this is the part where I said, MC, I can only do so much. That opened the door. And I'd met Flavia. We're seated at Caramel with Martha and Flavia. I'm like, see these vibes. These are my things. so, so I'm meeting Flavia, and I'm just, and then the entire time I'm in awe of her. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is happening, right? This is happening. But now the part that I'd forgotten is that this is a very busy person. All your mentors, by the way, are going to be very busy people who are in the industry doing their own things, and this is just part of what they're going to do. But what they're doing is more or less just helping you, to teach you and to show you the ropes in the industry. Now, I don't know in my mind whether I thought Flavia is like, now my sister or my sibling, she's going to look after me or something. I forgot that. So whenever she would seem like she's busy, I'm like, I don't want to irritate her. I don't want to be on her case. Let me let her do her thing. And Flavia, luckily enough, she's very vocal on social media. So I would follow her closely on her socials. Every now and then I would send her stories and tell her, I did this. What do you think about it? But she's a very busy person, like I said. Okay. Now, I wish that I had actually tied on her to the point that I was seated in studio with her while she's doing her shows or maybe while she's recording her stuff. I wish I'd done that, because imagine what I would have learned. Even though right now I can't say I've positively learned so much from her, but imagine what I would have learned. Okay, you're going to meet people who are actually going to connect you to so many. Your mentors are people who are going to connect you to almost all the opportunities you get, because these are the people who are like your key. They sit with big people. They're the ones that talk to the guys who are going to hire you. So if you impress them and you show them that you are it, they're definitely going to vouch for you, because I'm a product of mentorship. Nearly everything I've earned from even influencing, by the way, I just told someone, man, take me through this thing, teach me, like mentor me, and let me make money as well. You know? And it's amazing. But I wish I had tied on her. I wish right now I would have been saying, Flavia's my birthday, by the way. Let me just call her here. I have a number, but we don't talk as much. But luckily enough, every now and then she reaches out. Recently she hosted me on her vlog, which was huge for me. I even texted Martha. I was like, Martha, check this out, man. Okay, this is huge. But I want you guys to focus on mentorship so much, and make sure that whoever you're paired up with, whether you like them or not, just look out for what is unique about them and what it is that drives them, and then focus on that and learn that as much as possible. These are people who actually go, I swear, they're going to connect you. These are your plugs. These are the people who are going to connect you to jobs, to opportunities. These are the people who are going to vouch for you. Nearly every opportunity I've gotten in my career has been from people who have vouched for me. They probably don't even know I'm lazy or something. They're not even sure if I'll deliver. But they have mentored me. They have seen how I work, and they have said, she will do it. I've been hired on gigs with people who are, if I could count like 10 people who I thought would have ended up on this list, but I'm on the same list with them, and I'm looking at the money we're being paid. I'm like, this is serious, man. But it's because there are people who vouched for me and said, I've seen how she works. I know she will deliver. So focus a lot on mentorship. Yeah.
If they start manya frame, manya is it focused, those things. I'm like, what are you saying? But the funny thing is, within my organization, we have to go for adverts, and then I'm hiring people to actually hold the cameras, go with me, because At the end of the day, the only thing I do is script and direct. I'm just there. I'm like, okay, do this, do that, do that. And then I'm like, okay, if I knew camera, I would be holding another camera doing other cool shots, yeah? I would be doing some mad stuff here, but I don't know. But the good thing is, whenever I go for these shoots, I make sure I'm learning something. I make sure that, okay, now I've learned how to do this and that, and the only remaining part is, how do I edit? How do I edit this into perfection? Not just me Tata Sam kind of, but you know, the vibe of this is this is worth people's money. Yeah, I think that's what I would have learned.
If I may add on that, by the way, get as much skills as you can on the practical things, like camera work, video editing. This is stuff I've learned recently. By the way, Mugaga, forgive me. You know why? I'm paying heavily for. I decided to start vlogging this year because I'm trying to increase my rate card, make more money. So I decided to start a vlog. Oli knows about it. And I got this guy called Bob to do the video and the editing work. The bill he sent me, it took me back, and I said, man, now imagine. Right now, I could have told him, okay, you bill me for the camera work, I'll do the editing. It was quite a lot. And now I have to share contracts with him, and I have to share quite a huge chunk to his account to produce the vlog, okay? Yeah, I know, but still, having the skills helps you, first of all, to even direct the kind of content you want, but also it will help you cut down the expenses. And also once you get into the industry, you're one army journalist, really. They're going to have you do everything by yourself. You don't want to get stuck.
I think also the other cool thing that you should learn is how to script for yourself. When you script for yourself, everything else is going to be easy. I think when you're on camera, you're just going to speak word for word, and it will be much, much easier. Yeah. Now we would go on to your questions, in case you have any. Questions?
Yeah, thank you. My name is David Ijo. My question to all of you is one. When you look at MCI alumni like you, I've happened to follow many of you, and you all have one common characteristic you share. You guys are all winning big. If you don't win big, you do big, and you are quite different from others who have not been to this kind of training. So what I keep asking myself, these guys that come out from MCI, what is that one common skill that drives them to perform? You see, Henry has about 7 awards. These guys are talking about social media influencing, and in any case, there is anything, they're the first. So what is that one common skill amongst all of you that you wake up and then it drives you to do or to perform? It's for all of you. Faizo and yeah.
Okay, I think we'll take some more questions. I hope we're noting down.
Thank you very much. Mine is just a simple question. While working under pressure, what is your coping mechanism?
Okay, we're going to first take those two.
The first question was on what drive. Okay, I'll give a very technical answer because I believe we're very different individuals at the fellowship, and each of us has something unique about us. But one thing that I can vouch for, after realizing I wasted my tuition and my time in university, the money would have bought some nice shoes, was that MCI focused a lot on journalism today, and that is what sells in the newsroom, that is what sells in the media houses. When you're at university, you realize that the journalism they teach in, unless if you're in some different university, but if you're in University of Uganda here, the journalism they teach is journalism that addresses 1980. Am I wrong? No, right? So whatever you're learning here addresses the current market. That is why I have to appreciate MCI for always moving very fast and adapting to situations. During the COVID time, These guys, you know, Annika was teaching us data, data processing and data journalism. But during COVID, they pumped it up extra and said, we need reinforcement. We need to really teach these guys this thing, okay? So they address journalism today, current trends today. They move and adapt very, very fast. So that is like a huge thing that we all have. We have managed to adapt very fast, and we've also managed to get into newsrooms and people see that we are switched on. We are switched on for the journalism today, which people from university are not. They see cameras the first time they get a job. Let's be honest. Hey, what was the second question? Ah, ha. Yeah. I personally don't really have a good coping. Being a foodie, I always thought food would be my good coping mechanism, but it's jammed. When I'm stressed, I don't eat actually. But one thing I've realized that eventually, especially this thing, baking, I think has done that has taught me it. You need to slow down. And when things are becoming overwhelming, slow down, handle one thing at a time. Okay? That's why when clients are calling me or putting me on pressure, don't pick because you're going to make me do mistakes. Slow down, do it perfectly, because at the end of the day, they will appreciate the effort. So just slow down, one thing at a time, perfect it. Yeah, don't do too much to overwhelm yourself. Take it a step at a time.
Ijo. Anyway, like they said, there is no particular formula. Personally, you've kept on asking the same question whenever we meet. That Henry, how come that you're winning awards each and every other time that comes in than the people that have been in the newsroom for quite long? We got to understand that the world we are into now needs solutions. That is why all the stories I'm doing, they're focusing on solution. Even the words we submit to are looking for solutions. Find yourself. I tried politics. I got what I was looking for. I ate my tear gas. I got done with it. I decided to find myself into the whole space. And it is where I'm winning. I never won any award in the political world. But in health, I think even Olivia can confirm that I'm the one on top currently. Just find yourself, know what you want. Anyway, find yourself, know what you want. What do you want to address really will drive you to be someone different from all the others. One, how do we work under pressure? Pressure will always be there. Pressure is what drives the newsrooms because they're working on time frames. If it is 7 p.m., the bulletin has to be on air. If it is 9, the bulletin has to be on air. So, just divide your time. Just understand that, yes, today I'm covering this kind of story. How am I dividing my time? What are my primary sources? Where am I finding them? And what is my turnaround time? There is no particular formula where someone will tell you that, you know what, working under pressures like this, it comes back to you. It's a personal initiative. What is your turnaround time is the most important thing in a newsroom. Yeah.
Okay, David, I think the reason as to why we are somehow more outstanding than the rest of the people, especially the people that have gone through the fellowship and MCI, is for me because there's a saying, when Mumanyi by now, government MCI is building a one man, one woman, I'm a journalist. Now that means a lot. It means when you go to practice journalism, you can literally do everything. Now we end up being placed somewhere. Yeah? Omar, you're going to only do reporting and anchoring. But whenever I am done with my reporting and anchoring, I remember that there's so much more I can do. Ngendo kuchizula nga my potential is left unutilized if I only focus on what I've been tasked to do. So that's how we end up moving into so many other things. When you enter newsrooms, it's too rare to find someone focusing on their day-to-day. We all have, like, kusoma amawulire, nemala submitting a story olunaku, you won't find me at office. Fortunately, we are lucky that our office, the nature of the newsroom is that, okay, our newsroom is that nobody will ask where you are, as long as you don't have an assignment. If you've submitted a story and you're done with your anchoring, you can always move away, go out. Anchors come in at the time when their bulletins are about to start. So if their bulletin starts at noon, they'll be there. They'll be at office by 11. Then if their bulletins end at 3, they will leave office at 3. You see, that's how it works at office. So you have so much time. You cannot say, this is an opportunity for me to rest. I am done with my work, so let me go and rest. You realize that you have so much time, and you also have so much potential to do so much. So I think that's what drives us. Then his question, I should give you a live example. Yesterday, there was an event at Serena Hotel, the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. I happened to cover that event. I had a bulletin at exactly 7 p.m. I left Serena at 39 minutes past 6. I had not completed preparing my bulletin, my 7 p.m. bulletin. I have to have a minimum of 5 stories, but I had prepared half. Now, this is where pressure comes in. You're covering an event. That was because, I don't know how it works at your stations, but at our station, Friday is a bad day. There's no news. Thursday. Now, at ours, Friday, we don't have news. So somehow, all reporters had left. And then this event was starting at 4 p.m. I happened to be at office by that time. So the editor asked that I go cover the event because they said it would start at 4. Unfortunately, it started at 6. We started interviewing the press conference started at 6. And I had to be there because the story had to run. So I left Serena at 39 minutes past. That's about 21 minutes. Grabbed the border. I got to office at about 15 minutes to 6. And I got there, to 7. I got there, we have a segment, hit mix at 6. Everyone at office, the presenters were dancing, running, the music was so loud. And I was trying to relax. Like he said, always just relax. Because in any case, at 7 p.m. I had to do a bulletin. So I knew, it's too much on me, I can't handle, I had to handle. So you always have to know, in situations where there is no alternative, like for example, being on air at a certain time, there's no way you can explain to an audience, I had a lot of pressure, I didn't go on air. So there was no news. There is no way. And now when you get on air, like for example, I settled 15 minutes, I was able to translate about 3 stories within 15 minutes. 555, I had already translated 3. I added the 3 to the 2. So I had a full bulletin. I went on air, of course, about a minute to 7 p.m. But when I got on air, I knew the people that are going to listen to me do not know what I have been going through, right? They expect that it's normal. So I also knew I was supposed to act normal. So I relaxed, cooled down, and then did my news. For me, that's what usually drives me.
What drives me? My legs. Okay. What makes us stand out, MCI? I think Media Challenge made it very easy for the fellows. Their branding and what they've been producing. They've been producing, excellent people. They give you hands-on skills. So most people who come to recruit in MCI or ask for referrals from MCI know that you have all the skills because they know what MCI does. So there is no way you're going to explain to these people that you don't know things. They are the very people who hire or who recruit are the very people who come here to give you the skills. So there is no way you're going to tell someone that you don't know nothing, because they've been here, they've imparted the skills, they know what MCI does. Because tell me any other organization that produces this kind of work, or kinds of people, or gives you the skills that you get here. Even your universities cannot match what MCI is doing. So yeah, even the TV stations. No, but there you're lying, because we're practical. So we anyway, but by the time you get to the TV stations, you have the basic knowledge. That's why most of them come here, because they don't assume they know that you have all these skills. They come here, they give you the skills. They've seen Media Challenge grow to where it is and what it has become. So that's what makes us stand out. I doubt now, media houses go to universities to recruit. No, I can assure you they come here. These are buses, these Marthas, Anikas are the plugs. They are the people they ask, because they know what MCI does and they know you have the skills. Pressure. Pressure. When did I first experience? I think I always thought I had pressure until the elections. These are the things we were joking. But during the elections, there was no internet. It was my first time covering an election. I don't do politics, but everyone had to do politics. I didn't know anything. I was sent to a region, central region, where I didn't have the history of that area. I was in Mukono, Buikwe, and Kayunga. Kayunga has a lot of politics. Land, what? I did not understand anything. There was no internet. You try to Google and understand the history of that area and why people vote a certain way. You people, and the fact that it was, there was literally no transport and you couldn't do live links. You want me to say why you did live links, but I will not say. Anyway, there was no internet. So without internet, it was hard for us to do live links. Unlike people who had the opportunity for satellite, and I don't know how they got that, because I thought most of us were cut off. But anyway, this is Animal Farm. He wanted me to talk about it, so I've talked about it. So for us who were suffering locally, we couldn't do live links. All we had to do, stand before the camera. We moved with like 10 cards. The TV had to buy, I think they purchased like 50 cards. They sent people to the western region, some in central, some. So what we had to do was you record what has happened in the past like 2 hours, put the card on a border, they take it to Serena, upload the footage, bring it back. That was the hassle. Let me tell you, I did not sleep for 3 days. Because you know how Mukono has so much Kavio numbers. Then there was this guy, Chibule. I was like, no, is this what I signed up for? Or I don't know what I signed up for. And back at office, they're calling you, you're giving live links on phone calls. Your battery is running low. You cannot explain that to your editor. You have to have an update. They would call us after every like 45 minutes. You guys, I don't think I'll be able to cover another election, first of all. But let me tell you, in the heat of the moment, I think all you can do is, there's only so little you can do. You can't do everything. You can't do everything. Even these editors are humans. I reached a point and told them, you guys, this is too much for me. This is too much for me. I did not get prep for this. I am learning on the job. You have to understand. This is too much. And at the time, Josephine Karunji was my producer. She understood. She was like, Olivia, I understand. It's okay. Take a moment, breathe in, rest. I went and slept for 2 hours, and that was the most sleep I had during the elections. And when I came back, I was like, okay, we can now start. But, trying to rest and understanding that you can't do much. You're human. You're not a robot. And music always does it for me. When I'm in the newsroom, editors are shouting at me, what? I'll plug in my earphones, concentrate, write my script, edit my work, and I'm like, you can come and go through the story. You get? Because you're human. You can't cut yourself into how many pieces. So for me, it's usually relax, know how much you can handle. If you can play music, play music. If you want to isolate yourself, whatever works for you. Because different things work for us. So for me, that was when I experienced pressure. Yeah.
Anyway, mine is very simple. Just a minute. Yeah, it's all right. Mine is very simple. Besides Henry, this goes to the rest. When we are beginning the fellowship, there is that target we always have. I want to be an editor. I want to be an anchor. I want to be a radio presenter. Did you at any point during the fellowship weeks or the months change your target that you would love to achieve?
Okay, we're going to keep this really brief. Say yes, no, why? Yeah. Yes, my targets changed. First of all, I wanted to go with Linda Kagechi, who I begged Martha to give me, but anyway. Yeah, I wanted to really be like Linda, literally. But God has his ways. My targets changed after that because I didn't see myself doing any production work. And yeah.
I think personally for me, by the time, of course, I joined MCI, I was already working. So even the people I wanted to be paired up with were sort of like in the same line. I was trying to keep as consistent as possible. There were things that, yes, I picked up along the way that I wanted to do, okay, especially social justice stories. I really wanted to delve into that, and I am still trying to do it. So, yeah, there are things I picked up, but I have to say my targets didn't really change. I came with, like, clear set things that I wanted, and I've stayed there.
Okay, now for me, my targets didn't actually change. They only changed after, like I shared, after failing to get a placement at NBS. So that's when my targets changed, but I was focused to being a reporter.
Yeah, my targets changed because when I came in, I really didn't have like goals I'd just come to learn. But as you know, we got this knowledge, targets changed. I realized I could do some, voicing, you can do storytelling. So yeah, they did change. They did. And they will change.
And by the way, when they change, it's okay. You see, we are paka. You get it? It's okay.
Thank you so much.